What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with ActuallyAdditions. And today, guys, we are going to be setting up a canola farm. We're going to be turning that canola into power, and we're going to be fully automating it using only ActuallyAdditions. Now, the nice thing is ActuallyAdditions is such a well-rounded mod that you have everything you could possibly need to automate the setup, and then some after that. But we're only going to worry about the very basic stuff today. Now, one thing I do want to say before we actually jump into this is that this canola power generation setup is by far and away the best early game power generation that you will probably have in any mod pack that includes ActuallyAdditions. So if you have not already started using this whenever you start a new world, I would highly suggest you do it. I think it's a lot of fun to set up, it's very cheap to set up, and it pretty much looks great with whatever you're building, so you don't really have to worry about aesthetics. But without further ado, let's jump in and start crafting. Now, there are two things that you are going to have to get that you probably won't already have access to, and what I mean by that is you probably already have some resources by now if you're looking into getting a power generation setup going, but you might not have canola seeds and worms. Now, worms are optional, but obviously you're going to need canola seeds or at least some canola if you're looking to make a canola farm. Now, you can easily find canola seeds if you just walk around in your world. This place will probably be pretty clear cut of them. Actually, I was wrong. Right here, we've got some wild canola growing. You can see it's marked as wild canola. And you'll find this sporadically. You may get it mixed up with yellow flowers, but if you break this, you're going to get some canola and some canola seeds. Each one can drop 1 to 3 of each. So you could get lucky and you may only need to find 1 or 2 plants, but it really depends on how much you want to come back to your base with and actually start setting things up with. You really only need 1 and then a little bit of bone meal or patience, but I would highly advise you to get maybe like 10. Something that is nice though, and I wanted to show you guys this on camera, is if you have a bunch of canola and no canola seeds for some reason, you can take canola and you can turn it into canola seeds if you just kind of want to expedite the full planting of your farm eventually. But I'm starting with 20 today. That should be more than enough. So you don't really need to spend a ton of time running around. They really only grow in single patches. They're not like huge groups of them. Now there is a very odd chance, I've been told, that they will come from breaking grass, but I broke enough grass to get over a stack of seeds and did not see 1 canola seed, so I don't know if that's actually true. I would just look for the plant if I were you, but let's get into doing some crafting because I'm really afraid I'm going to hit this button and all of this is going to get organized. So the first thing that we are going to make today is going to be the farmer. So the farmer is just going to be 4 Inori crystal blocks, 4 seeds, and an iron casing. So we can come in here, get the farmer. It's relatively cheap. It does take 4 Inori blocks is pretty expensive really early on, but I didn't have much trouble putting that much investment into it, so I suspect you guys won't either. Now, the next thing that we are going to be making is going to relate to the actual power generation. So we are going to be making, and these can vary depending on how you actually want to set your whole thing up. I'm going to be doing a setup that I know works and will not have any backup issues, and it also looks pretty nice. So it's going to be 1 canola press, 4 fermenting barrels, and 4 oil generators. So we can grab out all of this stuff right here, and it is going to be just kind of miscellaneous ingredients for all 3 of those. So we'll go through, we'll make 4 fermenting barrels. These require a lot of wood. I would really suggest you go get like maybe half a stack to 3/4 of a stack of actual wood just for this whole setup. It takes a fair bit. I've had to go out and cut down a couple extra trees while I was crafting. And there we go, 1 canola press. And finally, we will be making 4 oil generators. Where did those go? Right over here. So this one's a little bit expensive because it takes 8 iron casings to make the 4 oil generators, but really not that bad compared to 4 blocks of iron. So now we've got all that stuff set up. That's pretty much the main part. You really won't need anything else that we're going to be crafting right now if you're playing in a mod pack. And the reason I say that is because it's really easy to automate if you've got Ender.io. And any mod pack that you're playing on is going to have Ender.io. I would advise you to not use anything other than Ender.io to automate it, just because things are going to be overlapping, and nothing's better than conduits when it comes to actually overlapping in the same block. But because I only have ActuallyAdditions to work with, I'm going to be using the laser relay system that's offered here that I've never really messed around with before. It took a little bit of finagling to figure out how it works. The energy relays are very simple, but the item laser relays are a little bit more complicated. So I already crafted one item interface. We can look at the recipe right here. Not very expensive at all. And then we are going to need one regular chest. I have 8 energy laser relays because that's what you start with. The recipe is 4 obsidian, 2 blocks of redstone, an advanced coil, and 2 restonia crystals to make 4 of these. We're going to be turning half of them into item laser relays. We may only need to actually turn 3. We will only turn 3. But to do this, we're just going to throw it in the atomic reconstructor. That'll turn it into a fluid laser relay, and then that becomes an item laser relay. So I wanted to wait just to do that on camera so you guys could see how it works if you get a little bit confused with the recipe. So there we go. We got the fluid laser relays, and there we go. We have our item laser relays. So we're not going to use up all of these energy ones as far as I know. Actually, we might need one more of these. It's a good thing I have enough obsidian. We may need to craft one more of these now that I think about it. It's a little bit unfortunate that we only have 5 right now, and we're going to have to craft a whole nother set of 4, but we'll use it eventually. And I guess I forgot to mention this, but what worms do, and the reason they are optional, is all they're going to help with is increasing the growth rate of your crops. It's very minimal. The reason I like it, and this is just a quality of life thing, is that you are going to get hydrated land from them. And it'll make it a little bit easier because the farm, unlike the Ender.io farming station, is not placed in the center. So when you have a 9x9, you are getting all 81 of those blocks. You're not going to have that central block that you can put water under so that you can hydrate all your land. You're going to be missing out on one of the growing spaces if you do that. So it becomes a little bit odd to try and get water around your whole thing and hydrate it if you're not using these worms. You might have the option of using like a sprinkler or something from a different mod, but I think the worms are the best because you get the hydration, and then you also get the added bonus of your crops growing a little bit faster. Now, if you're curious how to get these, you're going to need to get a hoe. I went through maybe a 1.5 stone hose. I thought it would take more, but I got a little lucky, and I don't know if you can still see it. It might still be growing back. Nope, I pretty much took this whole area here, and I hoed every piece of grass that I could. It does need to be grass, and I got these worms. I ended up getting 12 worms, and now I'm stuck with useless hoes. So, isn't that the story of everyone's life? Am I right? Awful joke. But let's get to placing stuff down. Now, I don't really have a base idea yet, but we're just going to put it down right here, and I think we should be okay. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if we extend this over here, we can have 9, so I need to go get some dirt. It's actually, a 9x9 is surprisingly large. I'm always amazed at how big the area is. I thought I cleared out more than enough, but we'll just fill this in over here, and we can fill in a little bit extra so we're not right on the edge. Okay, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it'll come over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so then we're going to come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I just count? I counted that so wrong. This has to be the center block. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is where it's going to go. We're going to place the farmer down right here, and I placed it down facing the wrong way. So it's going to face towards you when you place it. You don't need to worry about breaking it. You can just break it with a regular pick. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Not a super fancy texture. It's very simple when you start opening it. Your seeds and everything are going to go in the left half, and then your output is going to go in the right half. So we can come back over here. We can grab the seeds, toss them in here, and it needs a little bit of a jump start to get going. So let's grab the coal generator, throw it on over here, and you can see it's going to start planting. Kind of plants in a random fashion, which is a little bit annoying early on if you don't have enough to completely fill up the area. So we're going to get this canola right here. We're going to turn this into seeds just to get as much as we possibly can. We'll put that back in here and let it plant them. And okay, so there we go. Not great in terms of how much we have. We can bone meal a little bit. And you can see that it automatically harvests it, obviously. And the output is now in here. And it should harvest this one. But obviously the land is becoming untilled. It's no longer tilled. I don't know the proper word for saying that. What am I, a farmer? But we're going to take these worms and we're going to count off. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh gosh. Okay, so it should be 4 in each direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the corner. And so we're going to place it right here. Okay, you know what? We're going to sleep first. I am so confused. It's so much nicer when you can actually look at the full farm. But it should be the worms covering a 3x3 area. Unfortunately, you do have to break the central one to be able to get it. But this is not the 3x3 area. It should be right here. Right? Yeah, so it would cover this outer 3x3. Then the central 3x3 should be right here. And then this last one should be 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be right here. Now, I don't know why it didn't plant on the outside. I find that a little bit odd. But we'll put those worms down. And it'll just help keep the land, you know, looking good and feeling good. We can place that one down right there. And then this one right here. And then we can just keep doing that. Now, if you want to get the worms back, as far as I know, you can't get them back. But if you want to get them off of a block, then you can just break whatever block they're on. So I'd break this one right here. And then we're going to do this one right here. And this one right here. And lastly, this one right here. I know, great tutorial on how to place worms. So now we'll dump these back in here. Inventory's getting a little full. So you can see that all the land is now going to be tilled. I almost said hoed. And I've said that in a video before, and apparently people were losing brain cells over it, so we're not going to make that same mistake again. This land is now tilled, which makes it a little bit easier to see what we're working with and how random it is in the way it's planted. We'll put these excess canola seeds back in here, and you can see it's kind of getting the bone meal effect every once in a while. That's just the worms helping it grow a little bit faster. But we should be good to go now. This can charge up a little bit more using this coal generator, but we're going to be using this to charge up everything else eventually. So now it comes down to placing down the rest of the setup, which is going to be the canola press, oil generators, and fermenting barrels. Now I'm going to place them down pretty much right over here. There's no reason to make it go super far away from this. And I don't know the exact setup that I want for these, but we're going to put them down right here for now, just because. So we'll do the canola press right here, right in the center, and then the fermenting barrels not in the corner. We're going to put the fermenting barrels right around that, and then we are going to put the oil generators around that. So like that, and like that. Now the reason that we do it like this is just because it pretty much is going to automatically output from the canola press into all the barrels, and then these barrels into the generator. So you don't need to worry about conduits or anything like that. And these should be pretty much, it's not exactly the right amount to manage this, but this should do a fine job of managing whatever we're getting without being overkill. So you can set up a bunch of them like this. If you have Ender IO conduits, you can, set this up, put the conduits down, and then put them down above it too, so you can layer it really easily. Really nice like that. And this is fully charged now. Should be good. So we're going to break this. And now we get to put down the relay. So this is kind of where the fun part starts. And we're going to be digging down here for now, just because it's going to get a little bit odd with how we have to place down the relays. I'm going to grab the rest of this stuff over here. And one last thing before we work with the relays. The last thing you're going to have to craft if you're working with them is going to be using 2 Inori crystals and 1 advanced coil, and that is the laser wrench, just so that we can connect them. So we're going to come all the way down here, and we are going to get over to the canola press, and we're going to put a laser relay down on the bottom of it. You can just shift right click it on there, and you'll be good to go. And then over here, we are going to get an item interface, and we're going to place it down right below the farmer, like so. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. My mistake. We're going to put the item relay down right there. Stumbling over my words right now. Pretty tired after work. We're going to put the item relay down right there. Item interface. I keep saying, oh my gosh, I can't talk right now. We're going to put the item interface down right there. And then we are going to grab our hopper, and we are going to direct items into that. Now, I'm going to do a brief overview of this right now, just because it confuses many people. But we're going to do more of an in-depth overview of all of the possible relays, specifically item ones, later on. The way it works, though, is imagine each relay, the laser relays, I guess in this case, as pipes, but you need to input into those pipes. So when you place them down and connect them, there's nothing being input into them. So in this case, we are going to think of the item interface as being the input. Now, it can either be an input or an output. It depends. But it's pretty much going to be the in or the out of a system. And in this case, we need it to be input in here. So the hopper is going to push items into the system that will then go over here. If we were to just put 2 item relays, one on the farmer and one on the canola press, it would not work. So you kind of got to use this to facilitate it. It's an interesting block, and you can get more in depth when you use advanced item laser relays, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So we can come back down here, and it really depends on how we want to place things. I'm going to make it look nice, or as nice as I can, and we're going to place this down way down here so that we can cover this up with dirt right here. And we're going to right click with the wrench, and then we're going to click over here. And you can see it actually makes a laser, and right away you can see things are getting transferred. There's a little bit of a particle effect. It looks awful right here because it goes vertical, so it's pretty much going into itself. But if we look over here now, it should have stuff in it. So yes, we have all the canola from this brought over into here, which is great. We should be able to fill this up with dirt, even though it'll kind of fill up the area and block this off a little bit. It should be no issue. There used to be a way to disable using the wrench so that you didn't have to see the particle effects, but from what I've seen, it's pretty much if you don't want to see lasers, then don't use this as transportation. So we can cover that up. And we're going to have to go back down over here just one last time. And this is really optional. You might not need the last laser relay for this. But what we're going to do is come down over here, and we are going to place down a chest at the very edge of this, like so. And we are going to hook up one more laser relay. And that was a little bit of a mistake. But we're going to break this. We're going to get this one attached first. Then we're going to place this down. And then we're going to connect it. And so what this is going to do is connect it to another one that is later on in the chain. Now they're sort of a network, and eventually when we start getting an overflow of seeds, that might fill up the output buffer, which in this will happen once the whole farm is completely planted, and we don't use those right away. We'll eventually use them, but if we're not using them right away, then we don't want it filling up our hopper and having nowhere to go. So they're going to go into this chest right here. It should work perfectly fine. I don't think you need to set a priority for one or the other to make sure canola goes in here. It should just try to go in here first, and it can only put canola in, so the canola will go in, and then it'll come over here, and you'll be good to go. And luckily for us, we don't need to see the lasers, even though I think they look pretty darn cool, just because they're underground. We will have to see some, but not all of them. So now we've got the energy laser relays that we have to worry about, and that's because the canola press itself takes power, and we're getting the power from the oil generators, and we need to give power to the farmer. So we're going to place these down like so, and we're going to have to connect them with one more, unfortunately, so we do have to make that. And luckily for me, I actually had an extra advanced coil, so we can get to crafting. We only need to really make the 2 blocks of redstone, and we should go like so. And we'll be good. Luckily, we don't have to convert them too, so we've got the laser relays, and they can go right here. So, pretty much these are very simple. These should be able to transfer at a rate of 1,000. We don't need to transfer more than that right now. I think it goes up 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 as you go to the 3 tiers of the different laser relays for energy. And they do have a little bit of loss over a very long distance, but it's not too much, and as they get the higher tiers, it becomes more noticeable. But this won't be an issue. So what we're going to do is just link all of these together. So this needs to get power from these. And then I believe we should be able to link this one over here too. And it should transfer power. And it actually looks pretty darn cool. It's funny how these are very simple textures. And then you've got these actual lasers going here to transfer it. So what I think we should be able to do is sort of facilitate the powering of this. By taking one of our laser relays and hooking it up to this coal generator here and kind of pushing that power in. So we need to put some coal in here, place this down, and I think if we hook that up, it should start working. Yeah, so it's going to be putting power in here too right now, so it'll take some time to fill up both, but this will start going, and the minute we get some out of these fermenting barrels and into the oil generators, we will be good to disconnect the coal generator and just let it run. So as you can see, this one is running. It's going to dump out a significant chunk of actual canola oil. So that's why we have all of these different ones right here. This process does take a little bit of time, and then it'll dump into all of these ones over here. Now these will be our internal buffers for now. Obviously you can hook it up to kind of a middleman supply anywhere in the middle of here. I'm not going to worry about storing power right now. We'll worry about that next episode or the episode after. For now, all I care about is just getting this loop going, getting the farm going, and it looks like we have done that. So I should be able to disconnect this right here, and everything will run very, very smoothly. So I'll just keep an eye on this. Obviously, this is full, but we'll see that these continue filling up, and they've got a decent supply of canola oil in there right now. And I only say that because it actually does generate a fair bit of power. You can see right here that every time it consumes some, it appears to be 50 millibuckets. It gets you 80 crystal flux per tick for 120 ticks, and all of these should be full, and our farm is slowly filling up. It hasn't filled up any of the outside spots yet, and it's worrying me that I got the dimensions wrong, but I'm positive that I didn't. So we're going to sleep right now, make sure I get that laser item or laser energy relay. I am sorry. And I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things now that we are done with the episode. But I apologize. You guys can probably tell I'm a little bit tired right now. I've been very busy with work, and there's a couple things that I have to apologize for. Not only being tired, but I told you guys that I was going to upload like every day over the summer. That's before I knew I would have an internship, and now I work 40 hours a week. Technically, I'm at work longer. I work 9 hours a day, but I get an hour-long unpaid lunch break. So, I'm working with all these salaried people. I'm the only intern there. And it's a little bit stressful. So, I don't have a ton of time when I'm at home. I come home and I'm ready to pass out. So I hope you guys can be a little bit more understanding in terms of the, the video schedule. I shouldn't say more understanding. You guys have been great about it, but I hope you guys can understand what, I'm dealing with right now in terms of trying to get videos out. And I will do my best to meet you guys in the middle and try and make, at least 2 to 3 videos a week, with my schedule permitting. And again, I apologize for that whole issue, and of course I'm barely able to talk right now because of it. But the last thing I wanted to talk about is I want to apologize to all the people on my Patreon server. I initially said that I was going to be there like all the time. It would be a very, popular series on my channel. Everyone would love it. It would be, I'd play on it a ton. And I have not had the time to do that, and I kind of feel like I've deceived people because I said that it would be a server that I'd play on and make videos on, and I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I feel really bad about that, and, people on the server are great. They're awesome, and I can't thank them enough for, supporting me and doing all that, but, I will do my best to get around to the server, and, I apologize if anyone that's on the server right now is watching it. I know you guys say that you're having fun and, with each other and everything, and it's okay to do work first, but I really do want to apologize that I kind of said something that is not true right now. But I will do my best to kind of deal with this whole work scenario and also make videos. So that's the end of my rambling. I'm honestly on the verge of passing out right now. Sorry if I wasn't super enthusiastic during this video. I promise this whole setup has Rage's stamp of approval. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you found it entertaining or informative in any way, please feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And I will talk to you guys later.